We are honored to once again be joined by State Senator Holly Schepisi from the 39th Legislative District. Holly, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Steve.
Senator, let me get right into this. We're taping this at the end of January 2020. You have said that you just don't understand why Governor Murphy continues to need emergency powers, executive powers, if you will. But we're nowhere near the end of this craziness with this pandemic. Why not? Okay, Governor, do what you think is best. You're the chief executive in the state. Devil's advocate, go ahead.
Devil's advocate, we're 2 years into this. Yes, COVID is serious. I personally had it twice, was hospitalized the second time around, but we're also at a point where I think we all agree we've got to live with this and we've got to work together in order to live with it. We are members of the legislature. We've abdicated our duties and our responsibilities as a co-equal branch of government for 2 years now. And I think we're at a time and a place where we need to have open, honest discourse and debate about what we do moving forward. And by just extending the emergency powers, extending the executive authority, we take that out of the public realm and essentially we give up our co-equal branch of government for the governor to continue doing what he wants to do rather than us doing our jobs.
Okay. Most importantly, Senator, you're okay. Your family's okay right now as we're taping.
We are, and I spent 4 days in the hospital last March with the Delta variant and got out actually 2 days before I got sworn in as senator. So it was a scary time.
And P.S., if you want to check out some previous interviews we've done with Holly Schepisi when she was in the State Assembly, some very powerful and personal interviews about Holly's journey and some health issues she has dealt with, and is very inspiring and powerful and has nothing to do with politics. But let's go back to politics. We're doing a series called Democracy at a Crossroads. The Chiron will be on the screen. January 6th, the significance of it as it relates to our representative democracy and preserving and protecting it, please.
When January 6th occurred last year, real time, I condemned what took place. I've never wavered on that. I think that we have been at a crossroads for quite a few years in our country, and we need leaders who are willing to stand up and try to bridge those divides, recognizing that without our leadership and without us trying to do what's right for all people, we're never going to get to a place of reasonable debate on issues instead of personal attacks. And I think it's really important that we all strive to do better and we all condemn things that shouldn't occur as they occur, regardless of political affiliation.
Holly, we've known each other for many years. We've had many conversations on the air, off the air. And one thing that always struck me about you, and I've said this before on public broadcasting with you, is you're always so gracious even when you disagree with your colleagues. That is not the norm. It appears not to be the norm with a whole range of folks. What do you say to those who say, if you disagree with me, if you're not with Trump, if you're not with Biden, if you're not with me on these things, you're my enemy? You've never seen it that way, and you see that as dangerous. What do you say to those folks watching right now and say, no, you're not with me, you're not with Trump, you're not with Biden, you're my enemy?
No, and I think that it's wrong in so many ways. There's not one person on this planet that I agree 100% of the time with on any issue, nor should we. That's what makes us individuals. That's what makes us human. And
right.
The inability to be able to have public policy discussions without people labeling you as some extremist on either side, I think really stops good policy for moving forward. It stops the ability for people to engage in conversation, to talk about unintended consequences, and to really do what's best for the people we represent. And so it's become this all or nothing battle. I think that we have to stop the personal attacks. We have to stop saying, because you may disagree with me on a subject, you're this or you're that.
You're my enemy.
Yeah,
you are my
you're
enemy.
My enemy. And I do blame to a certain extent the 24-hour-a-day news cycles. I think and I'm not talking about your show, but in a lot of media now.
What about social media? What about social media?
Social media has broken our world. Social media, people will say and do things that they would never have the guts to say to somebody's face. And my own Facebook wall is a microcosm of that. Some of the stuff that comes across is just unconscionable. I had a guy just about 2 weeks ago come after me and tell me if I wasn't quote unquote so fat, I wouldn't have, been so sick from COVID. And why don't I, and it's stuff like that where you look at it sometimes and you're like, are you serious? This is the sort of stuff that you are saying publicly as a professional against an elected representative. And we need to, once again, we are human. Sometimes I will clap back at somebody, but we need to show a better pathway moving forward instead of feeding into the divisiveness. You can fight vigorously on policy. You can fight vigorously on things that you believe in, but stop with the personal stuff.
Can we fight vigorously about COVID in this sense? Mandates. Do you believe in mask mandates? And if so, where, in what circumstances? Do you believe in them?
Okay, for hospitals, for vulnerable populations, I think it's prudent, but one of the biggest issues I think that the public has, other than battle fatigue and PTSD from living with this for 2 years, is the ever-changing guidance with really no explanation as to the ever-changing guidance. So first it was, we're going to do 2 weeks. Then it was, you need a shot. Then you need a second shot. Then you need a third shot. Wear a mask. It doesn't matter what mask it is. Now it's, no, don't wear those masks. They do nothing. You've got to wear
one thing we do know is, sorry for interrupting. One thing we do know is vaccines do keep people from getting very sick and dying. Should we just mandate the vaccine? If you were the governor, if you were the president, would you say, you know what? That's one thing we know. Let's mandate it.
I'm against mandates. I am pro-vaccination. I personally am vaccinated, even though I have horrible reactions to vaccines. My first shot, I got taken out for 4 days. I was really scared to get my second shot. Notwithstanding that, I got my second shot. I got taken out for 3 days after my second shot. I just became eligible for the booster under the new guidelines for Pfizer a couple of days ago. And I'll be very honest, I know I should get it, but I'm also scared to death to get it. And I'm trying to find like a 3-day window where I don't have meetings or something I need to do, recognizing that I might get pretty violently ill from my third shot as well. But just today, there was a study that came out of Israel where now there's a push in certain sectors for a fourth shot. And the preliminary study in Israel has indicated that the fourth shot that they've been giving people actually really has no impact on Omicron. So I think we need to start taking a step back before we just keep saying people need a shot every 3 months.
So you're, just to be clear, I got to get out of this segment. You're not for mandates across the board on vaccines?
Absolutely not. I've always been about medical choice on pretty much everything. And while I personally have advocated for people, particularly those with underlying conditions, to do the right thing for themselves, speak to their doctor and get vaccinated, I don't believe in government mandates saying that you can't come to your job if for some reason you can't or won't get this.
Senator Holly Schepisi, as always, thank you. All the best to you and your family.
You too.
I'm Steve Adubato. That's Senator Schepisi, and we'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Wells Fargo, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, PSC&G, Choose New Jersey, and by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Promotional support provided by NJ.com and by AM 970 The Answer.
Hi, I'm Joe Roth. In New Jersey, there are nearly 4,000 residents in need of a life-saving organ transplant, and one person dies every 3 days waiting for this gift of life. One organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and enhance the lives of over 75 people. You have the power to make a difference and give hope. For information or to become an organ and tissue donor, visit www.njsharingnetwork.org and be sure to talk with your family and friends about this life-saving decision.